Richard.
Okay, yeah.
Up on top of the hill is Alloys.
All right, I did not know Richard well, but I know Gary Strickoff,
Yeah.
and I knew Richard's wife, what do they call her?
Betsy?
No, she has a nickname. What's her nickname?
Who?
Oh, Richard.
Toots.
Toots, yeah. She's a sweetheart, yeah. I still see her, run into her all the time. Okay, so Alloys, her brother had a ton of kids. It seems like he was married to Rita Strickoff, and all just beautiful, handsome children, you know.
Nice family.
And some of them are still around this area.
Yeah, most of their
Most
kids
of them are,
were.
yeah.
Richard also had 7 children.
Did he? Okay.
They're
The only one I know is Gary.
probably so.
So they were all Catholics?
We all went to Immaculate Conception Church.
Okay.
Okay.
From little on, you know, we were born and raised in the bottom, and we went to church up in the hills there,
Okay.
baptized in the church. That was our whole social life for a number of years, the way everybody had it back then. That was for our social life, because we didn't go anywhere.
Well, good. You probably don't have to tell us anymore because we should get this thing rolling, huh? Then.
I think it's.
Oh, it is on.
Is it on?
Yeah, I turned it on, I didn't know what.
Okay, good.
We were getting.
Good thinking.
details, right?
Okay. Hi, Ruth. This is the Augusta Tell It Like It Was conversations. Today we got Jan Cross, and you know me, Paul Loviet. This is Paul Campen, spelled with a K. Campen.
Camping, not camping.
Yeah, no Campmans today. And that's Dave Kloss.
Hi, Dave.
Jan is sort of new to Augusta. What, have you been here about 6 years or more than that?
13.
13. See, I know what I'm
Well,
talking
actually, we built in 2005.
Okay.
Okay.
Down Hackman Road, our property butts up against the Strickoff farm there.
Oh, okay.
And anyway, I've been around forever, since '76. Paul's more recent. And Dave is recent. Well, no, you've been here.
Yeah, it's
I'm 32 years in Augusta.
Oh my gosh.
still a newcomer.
Still a newcomer.
I live in Mrs. Neenhuser's old house. Do you remember
Oh,
where Mrs.
yeah, sure.
She was a teacher at the school forever.
Yeah.
All right.
Big house.
Kinda.
I mean, it's big
But
to me.
By today's standards, it's small.
Yeah, that's right.
So, anyway, that's enough about us. We want to know
Yeah.
about you.
Yeah.
Ruth Heman. When were you born?
I was born June 15th, 1932.
1932.
I'll be 87 next month, in June.
Okay.
Okay.
Congratulations.
87, wow.
How'd that happen?
That's a good number.
Yeah.
And where were you born?
I was born in Augusta proper. I was born down on the bottoms,
In the bottoms.
where we lived we all lived there until I was about 13, 14. Then we moved because of the floods. They finally ran us out of there. And I'm not sure, it just must have been in 43 when that was the last flood. I guess that's what made Dad leave. But he had been in all of them before, all the floods. And I went out every time. He had to live through that. And then we moved up in the hills. So then we were a little flood free, you know.
Right. Well, that was nice.
That was how they ever did it. I was thinking last night in bed, we kids, we had the flood. We just rode with the flow, you know.
Yeah.
But poor Mom and Dad, they had to go through all that, getting everything out, the animals, and moving everything upstairs. And so those were hard times for them.
Sure.
I know it now. At that time, I was just a kid. It was just something we
It
went
seemed
through.
normal.
Yeah, it was fun.
I guess people came and helped sometimes
Oh,
with these
yeah,
floods.
they would help.
Yeah.
And the area was very closely knit, you know. You had to help everybody. Farmers had to help each other, you know, all times, not just flood times. Like you had thrashing runs, and you had butchering runs, and you had whatever else you did as a group. They would come to your house, and of course you had to go back and help them when they decided, like, to peel apples for apple butter, and to kill peaches for canning peaches. Whatever the situation was, they would come and help, of course, and then they wanted to do that, you had to go and help them.
Right.
So everybody worked like that together.
That is
'Cause
fun. It's
you
fun to
bought
do.
peaches by the bushels, you know, and apples by the bushels. You didn't go to the store and buy a bag of apples. So you needed help to get them peeled one day.
Right.
And
Gotcha.
so that was all, thrashing was the same way. They would have the men come in, run the thrashing runs, and that was a lot of men. It took a lot of men to do that. of course, Mom and them had to do all the cooking. And then there again, people would come and help cook. The ladies would help all the other ladies cook, so. Anyway,
Well, a lot of times that's enjoyable to work with other people.
oh yeah, oh, for them it was, I'm sure.
Yeah.
They lightened the load, first of all, and then they had company camaraderie, which they didn't have very much. You didn't have a lot of company, where we lived anyway. Families come, brothers and my dad's brothers and sisters and moms, but that was just rarely. Maybe they come twice a year. It's just the way it was back then. We stayed at home. Didn't know we were staying home. Everybody stayed home. We thought that's what everybody did. But it was a good time. It was hard time.
Has all traces of your farmer home in the Bottoms, is it completely gone?
Well, yeah, that's gone. Do you know Narby Strickhoff? Do you,
Mhm.
Not very well.
he bought the land from, I guess, from Dad. I
Uh-huh.
don't think anybody had it between there. After Dad was gone, he settled and he bought the farm, the land down
Okay.
there. So, and as far as I know, they still own it, and it was over 100 acres of bottom land. I just don't know how much it was.
Mm.
But
Did it have a basement?
we had a cellar,
Yeah, so,
and it was
stone?
mud actually, because all these floods got in there,
Yeah.
and it would settle with that mud. So it was dirt. It got to be dirt, but it was a lot of mud for a long time.
Did your dad build the house?
No, they remodeled it. His uncle must have had that house before us.
Okay.
And I don't know, anybody had it before them, I don't know, but I know there was a Sturkoff lived down there. And I guess my grandpa bought it from his brother, and that's how my dad got down there. Each of the boys got a farm from Grandpa Sturkoff as they got older. So we ended up on this one, the one down near the bottom.
Okay. And were there levees along the river at the time?
Along the river, I'm not sure, but down through the bottom, there was a ditch levee, they called it,
Yeah.
from the hills that goes down to the river. I don't know about actually along the river,
Yeah.
but I know there was a lot of damage when the levees would break
Yeah.
because of all the pressure behind them.
Oh,
And we
sure.
were the first farm after the levee, so we got the full brunt of all
Yeah.
the force of the water.
Yeah.
But no, I don't know about along the river. And we could go walk to the river, we were close enough that it was a mile maybe from the river. We were never allowed to, but we could go so far. Of course, we played over the whole farm. We had a 200-acre yard, you might say.
Yeah.
That's where we lived. And that was off limits though, because we probably would have tried to swim the river, no one else.
Sure.
That wouldn't have been a good idea.
Just the way we were.
So did your parents have both crops and animals?
Yeah.
Livestock?
Well, hay and wheat and corn. I don't think there was any beans back then. But cows were not feeder cattle, but milk cows. Had your own milk and butter and cream and all that. That's all I remember of cows. I don't think they ever had, until we got in the hills, I don't think we ever had that. We had pigs. In their flood time, they would put them up on the barn loft, on the hay loft, to get them out of the water.
Yeah.
And then we would butcher, but I don't remember ever butchering a beef.
Do you remember how many pigs you had, just roughly?
Oh, I'd probably say 6,000, something like that, and that was a lot for anybody back then.
Yeah.
But they were all open range. There was no confinement. They were all waddled in mud all the time. Happy pigs. They were.
Yeah.
And it was just a general farm, just to keep body and soul together. It wasn't that they were going to make a lot of money on whatever they were doing, but we lived with all the food we grew. We didn't buy, I guess Mom didn't buy a whole lot.
Yeah.
Apples and peaches maybe. And we even had an orchard until the flood took it all the time, and it didn't survive anymore.
It's probably too wet for orchards
yeah.
down there.
Yeah, and the trees would just wash out too.
Yeah.
So it was not a pleasant place to live for Mom and Dad, but for us it was great.
Was there fruit being grown up in the hilly part of, not down in the floodplain, but were local people growing did they have orchards and fruit up in the hills?
Oh, I guess everybody had some trees or some kind of fruit trees. You had to have apple trees. You weren't American.
Yeah,
And then pear trees, that was a given.
yeah,
And we had cherries and apricots.
okay,
This was in the bottom. But they
Yeah.
didn't survive the floods. In the hills, we had a big apple orchard. You know, not very good apples. They didn't spray or anything, but they were, you could eat them.
yeah,
You could cut them
sure.
up and eat them. So
yeah,
some years they were better than others.
yeah,
And always had a huge garden, you know, just a huge garden.
yeah.
And I remember that well because we had to weed a lot.
Yeah.
The dandelions and the weeds had to go, so. But it was still fun. It was a good time.
Yeah, I'm sure,
And
Yeah.
we lived up in the hills then, until they died. But that was much better living for mom and dad. You know, house was nicer and didn't have to deal with the water and.
yeah,
And by then the kids were starting to leave too. It had to be easier to get rid of some of us.
Yeah.
With 8 kids, you finally have to get rid of them.
sure,
Where do you fall in line
Where do
with the
I?
kids? Yeah.
There's 3 younger than I. And it's 4 older. So there's 8. Well, there was
So
9.
you were like the spoiled ones, those
Yeah.
lower
Oh,
ones.
yeah, very definitely. You picked up on that already? It was just a good time for us, for the kids. We lived in a great place.
Well, do you know how your family, how far back it goes in the Augusta area? Or
Well, I can't say that, I know for sure. I know we had great uncles there, and I don't know if, beyond that, I don't know. I mean, my dad had uncles there.
Huh.
And my dad, so that would be great uncle to me.
yeah.
And that's as far as I know, but I know that a lot of people in our tree have follow the family tree.
Yeah.
And I think they're back to Adam, I'm not sure.
That's way
I
back
went
there.
back farther and farther, but I lose track of it after about the 3rd or 4th generation, and I can't handle it anymore.
well, that would take you sort of back to the, founding of the town, I would think.
It sounds like she's getting back there,
Well,
doesn't it?
Doesn't take a whole lot of generations to get back
No,
to
that's true.
1850, yeah,
See, when the town of Augusta was first, it was the railroad track was up against, or the water was up against
the river.
Augusta.
Mhm.
So I don't know where the farmland was for all these people. They all farmed, must have been in the hills. I'm sure they didn't farm across the river, across the water.
oh, yeah,
And
that's
how
true,
that, when the river changed, of course, then the land opened up between
yes,
Washington on that side and this side, there was a lot more farmland available. But everybody farmed,
Mhm.
not big lot.
Yeah, and yet they lost farmland, like I think down around Berg's Crossing, whatever they call it, where you cross there was a whole lot of land out there untold.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, I
or-
knew that
and then
too.
that disappeared, yeah.
See, that's all gone. So I don't know, I guess most people were farmers back then, I don't know what else they would have done, like that.
yeah,
My
it's
dad's
true,
uncle, those people, I never did really find out what they did, I'm sure they farmed.
there
'Cause it's
wasn't
all
any
land.
industry out there,
No, there was no industry.
no,
But were there certain people who mostly made their living, let's say, by being the local carpenter in the area, or the doctor, or whatever?
Yeah, they had, Dr. Clay was a doctor, he was the local doctor. Yeah, they had those kind of things, and then there was just a couple stores that people made
Yeah.
in Augusta. There was, you could bring stuff there to sell too, like eggs and whatever else it would be. And then you could swap it for something or buy, they pay you and you could buy what you wanted, That's how they traded, got along. So, I remember bringing the eggs there more than anything, I guess that's all we had to bring.
Whenever you're talking to a Struckoff, the question always comes up, are you related to this? Because I know there's not all of you are related very closely at all. Are you related, for instance, to Bob Struckoff on Shell Road?
That's one of those that's far back.
Somewhere way back there.
Not so far way back, but back,
Okay.
because, I don't wanna get into it, because I'm not sure I'm gonna say it
Yeah,
right.
that's
but
okay.
There's so
Yeah.
many cross.
Yeah.
I wouldn't probably understand
No.
anyway. How about like Roland Struckoff, that was married to Dottie?
That's the
Kuchel?
same thing, about the same way.
Some
Further
distant
back.
thing, okay.
And I don't think Roland and them are that related to Bob Struckoff and them.
not so much.
I'm
Yeah.
saying they are, but it's
It's
gotta
also-
be distant, a little distance in there too.
Mm. Do you get a sense though that all the Struckoffs came from some ancestor
Well,
that came to Missouri?
When they go back far enough, they can get the connection.
Uh-huh.
About 2 weeks ago, we had one of those things out here with the Copeland people. They wanted to know about the ancestry. And her mother was, Mrs. Copeland was a Struckoff, so she knew pretty much her, and she was, she's old, like quite a bit older than us, so she knew, her kids knew a lot about the ancestry.
Mm.
But like I said, it lost me about the third generation, and I couldn't follow it anymore. There's too many Hermans and Henrys, and every family had to have a Herman.
But George and his brother own that property behind us.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, so he's related to Bob now.
yeah, and
Bob's related.
their one sister's a nun, so I don't know where she is.
Who?
They have a sister that's a Catholic nun.
Yeah, she's in St. Louis, yeah.
Yeah,
Mm.
Yeah.
nice lady.
So,
Well, you told us you're one of 8, was it 7 or 8?
well, it's 8 living, there was 9.
Oh, there were 9 once upon a time. And do some of them, well, like you mentioned, Alloys and Richard is dead. Are there others that we might even know that are living around this area?
Paul, you talking about my brother?
Paul? Okay, yeah.
Paul is a brother, he lives in O'Fallon,
O'Fallon, okay.
and he was married to Dubert from Augusta.
I've heard that name, but I don't know anything
Yeah.
else.
Well, anyway, there's none of them left anymore, but,
Oh,
and then John, he's the youngest, and he married somebody here from Washington, but he didn't live around. He was in Paducah, Kentucky for a number of years.
oh, okay.
Really didn't ever come back, went to high school and all that here. Let's see, then Helen is in St. Charles, and Mary lives in O'Fallon, and the other sister lives in Fort Wayne, Indiana.
Okay.
So that's kind of.
That's why I don't know you.
No, that's why you don't know. I don't want to know them anymore.
So most of you guys are, your brothers and sisters are still around.
Yeah.
What a
Two
great
have
gene
gone.
pool. Good for you.
2 younger ones are gone, so.
Yeah. Did the Catholic Church have a grade school at that time?
At that time, and I graduated from the Immaculate Conception Church there.
Oh, okay.
They had up to the 8th grade.
Mm.
And,
Oh, okay, so you went
and
to,
it went till about, I don't know, I was probably about 2025, or maybe when they closed it,
yeah,
Oh,
and maybe a little longer, probably even a little longer. I'm not sure exactly when they closed. It just dwindled to where there wasn't enough kids actually worth opening doors, and it's hard to get teachers. They had nuns, and they were getting less.
yeah,
It's hard to get the teachers for the school,
yeah,
and just financially, it just was not feasible anymore.
yeah.
well, when they closed their door, do you think people went more to the school in Dutso, or just go to the public
Well,
school?
Les went to Dutso. More went to the public school.
More about the public,
Yeah.
okay.
But then they gradually kind of went to Dutso, but there isn't that many kids from our church anymore, the church has gotten so small. But there's a few that go to Dutso yet, say maybe 5 or 6 from
Oh,
our
okay.
church.
I
And the
see.
rest go to
Uh-huh.
public school, I would say. Some even come over here to Lourdes.
Oh, okay,
Just-
yeah, here in
They
Washington.
don't want to go to public school, they go to Lourdes. Dutso is rather small, so it's not something like a bigger school for their kids, so.
Yeah. Now, after you graduated from grade school, Catholic grade school, did you go on to high school?
No, I didn't go on to high school.
Okay.
I did housework for 4 or 5 different ladies,
Uh-huh.
2 or 3 days a week, one place, and took care of a lot of babies.
Yeah,
And then,
that was real common. My mother didn't go to high
yeah,
school either.
that's the way it
Yeah.
was. And after that, everybody went to high school. But
Yeah. Okay.
And at 18, I went to St. Louis and went to work at the hospital down there as an aide.
Uh-huh.
And I worked down there till I was about 20, then I came back to Washington here.
So you stayed in St. Louis while you were working for the
stayed where
hospital?
we were. We stayed in a hospital. They had dorms for the girls that
Okay.
worked there.
That was before you were married?
Yeah, well, I didn't marry till I was 47. I did a lot before
Oh.
I was
Oh,
married.
that's interesting.
People had probably written you off as a,
I just had to wait for the right one, that's all.
There you go.
it's smart to wait.
I made sure.
That's good. Yeah.
children do you have, Ruth?
My husband has 3 daughters.
Oh, okay. Huh. So, is your husband older or younger than you?
He's older about 3 years, 4 years.
Okay.
I'll be 97
So you were
and he's 90.
you were 47 when you got married.
Mm-hmm. And he was, he had 3 daughters. His wife died, and
Oh, okay.
How old were the girls when you got
well,
married?
the youngest one was in junior college. So I really
Oh.
didn't
So they
raise them
weren't
or
really
anything. They were
sports.
home. She was home
Yeah.
after school.
Uh-huh.
But then when she was 18, that she was finished with junior college, and she came and got a job and stayed with her sister over here. And it worked out great having them there, but it had to be hard on them. I knew he was not gone that long. She was sick for a long, long time.
Yeah.
So bringing somebody else in, I can understand now how hard that is.
Yeah.
To
Oh,
bring
sure.
another woman in the house.
Yeah.
Now they have
Yeah,
to
they-
be grateful
they-
that you were
they-
there for them.
Yeah, they were not mean or anything, but I don't how I felt and how they must have felt sometimes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were good kids, though. They really were good kids. Still are good
Well, you're
kids.
blessed.
Now, was it after you got married that you moved to Femme Osage?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I had, prior to that, for 10 years, I had a house here in town.
Uh-huh.
Here in Washington.
Yeah, here in Washington.
Okay.
Because I didn't have, Dad and Mom were gone.
Uh-huh.
So I bought my house over here. Then moved when I got married. And
Did you work in Washington
Yeah.
then?
I worked for almost 25 years at Jefferson Products. It's a factory that makes parts for air conditioners.
Oh, really?
And then I married, and then I stayed home a year or two, and then I went to work for the Emmaus Home as a cook, and I was there for almost
Ah.
25 years.
Oh, my goodness.
Fine. So I worked away from home all my life, but part-time at the Emmaus Home.
Yeah.
Then I was farming the rest of the time. I always helped as much as I can. Then he trusted me to do the things he trusted me to
You
do.
were busy.
Well,
So,
I was young.
after you moved to Femme Osage, you had animals and crops, or?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we had cows and pigs and crops.
Uh-huh.
Got rid of the pigs after about 3 years, couldn't handle them.
Yeah.
And we were not fixed very good either. And you can have animals, you gotta be properly set up for it.
Yeah.
And it was okay, but it was behooved us to do the cattle. And we went more to
Mhm.
breeder cattle, and feeder cattle.
Yeah.
And he had them up until they quit about 4 years ago, then he gave up farming. We still had our cattle, not as many, but we had cattle and didn't have hogs,
Okay.
yeah.
So you just moved here in the last couple of years?
Here,
Uh-huh.
we came Maynard came in September and I came in October.
Oh, okay.
He fell and broke his hip. That brought him here, and I don't know what happened to me. I just fell apart, and I was really, really sick for about a month.
Oh.
Ah,
And then I had to come here. I couldn't go back home either. I couldn't take care of anything, so.
yeah.
And it's not a whole lot better yet as far as walking, and that's an issue with both of us.
Oh.
If we
Yeah.
could walk, we could probably go home, but.
Yeah.
How did you meet Maynard, or did you know him for a long time
I
anyway?
knew Maynard when I was a young, when we were dancing back, you used to have dances, and we'd go to dances, and he was there with all his friends, and I knew him, I knew who he was, and he played basketball,
Mhm.
and he played baseball, and he played against my brothers and all that, so I always knew who Maynard Heman was. But one night I got a call here in town, it was him, he saw me walking on the street here in Washington, and he said, I think I'm gonna call her up. Now, you gotta know Maynard, that was a big issue for him to make a call to anybody, he's so
Pretty shy.
Yeah, very shy,
Yeah.
and it hadn't been that long,
Yeah.
So then, we went to Bellingham, and the rest is history. It just
Yeah.
was easy to get along with, and I guess he
Yes.
thought I was too, he probably thought I was
Yeah.
easy to get along with, so we got along well.
That's good.
Yeah, it was, I'm glad I waited.
Yeah, we did good.
Nice guy.
When I was asking earlier before we started the interview about your farm, you mentioned I guess you thought I was talking really where Margie lives. is that the Heman family farm or
No.
no?
I think the family farm is where Bachhaus boys live.
Oh, I don't know where they.
Emmett, the boys, you know, Ronnie and
You mean on
Randy.
Highway T?
Pardon me?
Are they, is that on Highway T?
No, they go to the place off of Osage Ridge Road.
Oh, okay.
But if you come out of Femi Osage and you look straight ahead off of T, their house is right behind that double white trailer where that Raymond boy lives. Behind there, there's a farm.
Oh,
And
okay.
that is where Maynard's family was. I think it was his dad. I'm not sure it was their own place, but that's where Maynard was born. Then they moved across the hill to where Deerberg's now own that off of Osage, Kaplan Osage Road,
Oh,
wherever
I
that
didn't
is.
know that about Deer.
And then his dad bought this place, and it was a Newburgh place.
Newburgh. Newburgh.
And this place where we live is also a Newburgh place at one time. They must have been pretty wealthy or something. They had quite a few farms. And Maynard's dad bought one, and then when he bought out the one where we lived for his own, no, he wasn't living there, but he bought it for some reason, rented it out. And then that's where Maynard was married from, where he lives, where Margie lives. He kind of had 2 or 3 different places where they lived between moving there. That was his last permanent place. And then he got married from there. So.
Okay. Well, you were trying to describe where where he had come from, but I think I understood you. You mean like if you're leaving from Osage and you hit Highway T, and you look across the Highway T, you see land goes on for a long way in the valley. Is that where he lived back in there?
Yeah, that first farm after that double wide trailer.
Okay.
And I don't know how much land they own now. I think they farm all that Ridge Road, but I don't think they own it all, the Bachhaus boys. So they have more land than they had when they were younger. You know, when Emmett had it, because they're pretty big farmers. They got a lot of cattle.
Right. Okay.
So that there was something to do with the Hennekins, and I don't even understand all that. It was a Hennekin place, I believe. I don't want to go there. I'm not sure.
Yeah. Okay. We'll have to do back houses sometime. We'll have to do the back house.
Oh, listen, did you see that picture of that log house?
I did. Yeah.
That's the people you'd be talking
In the Boone Country Connection. That was an interesting story. Tim Kilby's in there big time too because he kind of helped on that project.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
I didn't see that paper. I guess it's probably at the library.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that the library would have
I'll
it.
have to go down and read it.
Yeah, it's interesting.
It was a nice article.
Huh.
Did you grow up with it? I mean, did you hear the German language being spoken?
Yeah, Mom and Dad spoke some. They didn't speak it all the time. But when family would come, relatives like Grandma and Grandpa, they would speak German. You know how it was back then. Your kids had to go out of the room, play outside. So I never was exposed to it very much. They never spoke it unless they were saying something they didn't really want us to know.
I
Yeah.
see.
And that wasn't very often that they spoke it.
Okay.
And I don't remember church being in German, but at one time Mass was said in German. Of course, you had it in Latin too, but German was
Yeah.
spoken at church.
At
I
the,
don't
at
remember
the,
that.
at the,
Catholic church.
at the
And I
Catholic church.
imagine all the churches were like that. You know, I imagine them, like Don Malkert and all them, when they went to church, I imagine they remembered German,
Ah, okay.
but I certainly don't remember the.
But you never spoke it
No,
yourself?
no.
Yeah.
Well, we covered a lot of topics already. Can you tell us something about your childhood, like how you played and what? Did you have any toys or anything like that? Or
Well, we had a few toys. It didn't last very long with 8 kids, but we had a few toys. But what we played was, we would go horseback riding. And I'm not very big, and none of us were very big, but we saddled our own horse, and this was work horses. We didn't have riding horses.
No?
And we'd get on a barn, we saddle our horses and take off and just run all over the bottom, you know.
oh, that sounds good.
Yeah, it was nice.
I bet
And,
that was fun.
did a lot of that and played over, Auntie over the ball through the door of the house. That was a big one for us.
We played that as kids.
Yeah.
I grew up on a little bitty farm. Yeah, you ever played any of them?
Nope, I don't know, so
We didn't
maybe I
have
might buy a
bicycles.
different name.
No, we'll teach you.
So we didn't have bicycles, so we had, our only transportation was our legs or that horse.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
And it was just such a good time. And we would seesaw, and put a seesaw over top of a gate. We'd do that for hours, you know,
Yeah.
just seesaw.
Or you just balanced a
Yeah, put the
board
board
on
on it.
it?
Yeah.
There you go, okay, that's
Yeah,
creative.
that was a given too. We did that a lot. Just did a lot of silly stuff. Played games that were, and this is really strange. We'd hide an object
Yeah.
and we'd go over there with this object and we'd say you'd walk 10 feet and make a turn and then you'd go someplace else and do this and stand on something and then you'd keep going and then you'd hide this thing. Then you had to come back to where they were and you had to tell them which way you went. And then they could find the objects. I'm sure we cheated a lot of times.
Did you
That's
play
the kind of
Huckleback?
stuff we played. What we called it?
Did you ever play Huckleback?
We called it, is that what, like that?
We played it inside when it was
Okay.
bad weather, and you'd have a button or something, and everybody would hide their eyes, and
Yeah.
you would hide it, and they had to
It
go
sounds
find it.
right. I can't think of what we used to call it. That doesn't sound exactly right, but it sounds
We
like.
didn't play anything outside.
This is
That was,
outside.
our grandma taught us that.
Well, that was one of the games you could play, and just made up games. I'm sure we did another thing. We made a lot of these cross sticks where you take them. We always used go a picket fence. You have a long one, and then you make a cross one on the bottom, and you take a wheel from maybe a wheelbarrow, not a wheelbarrow, a wagon, an old one, and all kinds of, and then you'd run it down that shaft, and you'd go all over as much as you get to see you could run it the longest out, you turn it over. You know, you just run along the ground. How that thing ever stayed up with all that rough ground, but that's where we run it up the road. And that we did a lot too, and made our own kites.
Well, that's fun, yeah.
That we did a lot.
Very
We did a lot of stuff like that. Nothing.
Did you have pets, dogs or cats?
We had dogs, but they were not pets.
No.
They were hunting dogs.
Hunting dogs. Do you have barn cats?
Oh, I'm sure we did. But they were never house cats or around the house. No, I don't remember any animals in the house. Calves once in a while, and they would get too cold, we'd bring them in and he'd wrap them in a blanket and put them on the porch or something, but that was just to save them.
Yeah.
When you lived down in the floodplain outside of Augusta growing up, were there a lot of ducks and geese and
Yeah.
much more than?
Oh, yeah, all day long you could see them, you know, and whenever they did their migrating. And they were probably the water, the river might have helped lure them over there. And there wasn't a lot of ponds in the bottom,
Right.
but that river water was there. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because I've been told that there used to
Yeah,
be
you're right.
so.
Forgot about,
Yeah.
Big flocks of them.
Yeah.
And quail, was there quail in your fence line?
Dad went quail hunting, so I remember that he went quail hunting, but I don't remember seeing them, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did a lot of hunting, not that we ate it, squirrels and rabbits we ate, but, you know, he wasn't much for deer or anything. In fact, then I don't know if there was that many deer around, but he did hunt quail, and he hunted pigeons too. And I remember Mom cooked them for the broth, and then we'd put rice in it with onions, and that was a meal. Crackers and this and stuff, thin soup. There's not enough on a pigeon to make any meat off.
It's flavor.
If you're hungry though, it sounds pretty good, just a bowl of soup, so.
Did your parents grow any rice down in the
No.
floodplain? No.
No.
Okay.
I don't know if anybody did, do you?
I don't know.
I don't think so, no.
I don't know. Would seem like a logical
Yeah.
place to grow it. but-
Yeah, but if you put rice in it, you probably get a draw, you know?
Yeah.
And wheat, you get water.
Yeah.
When you would go from the bottoms to get to the church or the school, did you ever use the horses for that purpose?
When I was about 5, I'll say 8 or 9, my brother had a buggy. We went with a buggy, horse and buggy.
Mm-hmm.
But most of the time, we walked. We'd walk through the bottom, past Henry Strickoff's place, come out down Bob Strickoff's place on Shell Road, cross over there and then go to the church. Now they say it's 3 miles and I'm sure it's more than that, but, so, you know, we just, every day that's what you do. And Allie says that we got a ride in the morning often, and I guess we did, cause I don't remember in the morning so much walking, but every night we walked home unless it was really raining.
Oh, yeah.
You walked home from school?
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever shop at one of the grocery stores in Augusta?
Well, we didn't go that way, we were going west
Oh, okay,
and then south. So
okay,
Augusta would have been south and east, and that would have been way out of our way.
out of your way, okay.
At Sunday after Mass, Mom would stop, or Dad would stop, and they would get some, whatever they needed from the store. I don't know what it would have been, because you had so much of your own food, but apparently they had to have something once in a while.
Do you remember which grocery store they went
We
to?
always went to the one down, what I call downtown, Carnarcho's,
Oh.
across from Johann's down there.
Mhm.
And there was
Okay.
one uptown, but we didn't
There
go there
was,
very
yeah.
often.
Okay,
But I think those stores were pretty healthy, because there was a lot of people relied on those little small stores back then.
Mhm.
And they had more than a lot of their little, like, Femi Osage had that little store,
Mhm.
and that held sold very little stuff, and it was all cans, goods and things like that. But those little stores, they must have done pretty good business.
Is that where your mom would've got her fabric to make your
Yeah, she
clothes
got her
and stuff?
fabric there.
And did you get flour
Yeah, for Lauren.
in the bags and she would use those to make your dresses? And,
Oh, we sewed all our clothes.
yeah.
Everything. I don't know about the boys. She's sewed. I don't think she ever sewed their shirts, but she sewed everything for the girls. When I had the first bought whatever. Yeah, it was. I got pictures now, and I can kind of remember the dresses. You know, you think, oh, I kind of remember that. But you gotta see a picture to bring it back to you, you know. And I know Mom made them.
Sometimes she'd have to buy 2 bags of flour, so she made sure she had the same pattern to make
Oh yeah.
your dresses out of.
Oh, that pot, yeah,
Yeah.
that's right, and often then they didn't really match, you know, sometimes the dye was different in one and the other. But she was a good cook, she was a good sewer, she was a good housewife, good
You were
mom,
blessed.
good mom.
so the store in Fem Osage, it was both a hardware store and a grocery
Yeah,
store?
Yeah, well, most of them were, back then, the little stores usually had some kind of hardware, nails or screws or something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah, but I think that was, they probably did as much business as hardware as they did with the groceries.
oh, I'm sure,
Being out in the country like that.
yeah.
Oh, Dad and them too.
So it was still open when you moved over to,
No, it wasn't
No?
open. It was
already-
an antique shop when I went there.
Ah.
when I came over there.
oh, okay,
But my husband remembers vividly about that store. After church, they'd all go over there, and that's where they'd gather and young folk and talk. So it's
Uh-huh.
kind of, those kind of memories. But I don't think they ever shopped here that much, but
yeah.
he was there. So,
You mentioned an antique shop, and wasn't that Giuliani? That had a tent company or a circus? I don't know what exactly in St. Louis. There's a
who is that?
well, I think there's a Giuliani Tents company in St. Louis that owned that antique store. Do you know about that?
What was, yeah, it was
Yeah.
circus type.
Yeah,
They took, yeah.
it's related to this. You probably know that, Dave. There was a big tent company in St. Louis. I think the name was Giuliani.
Yeah.
I don't know that,
Okay.
no.
And-
And they the ones that ended up buying the Fem Osage store?
Yeah.
I believe.
Okay,
That was the second owners. They, the person that I know that bought it was, that one that has an antique shop in Tootsville. On
Oh,
Cherry.
yeah.
She's married to a Wagner now, but she was married.
Yeah, I've never met her. I know where you're talking
And
about.
then, of course, they lived there a while. And then they sold it, and then, I guess Juliana's got it right after that.
And then now someone else has it
No,
too.
there was somebody else there.
it sold pretty recently, cause 5 years ago there was a for sale sign on
Okay,
it, yeah.
It changes, you know,
Yeah, everything does.
there was a pharmacist lived there. He was a pharmacist down in St. Charles or somewhere. He lived
Uh-huh.
there for a while.
Yeah,
In fact, he still owns it, I think.
yeah. So the church that's in Fenlo Stage, is that a Lutheran?
There's,
Is that a Lutheran
there's a
church?
Lutheran church and a United Church of Christ in Augusta.
Oh, yeah,
Ours is a Catholic church.
right,
Yeah.
right,
There's a Lutheran church and a United Church of Christ.
yeah.
Paul, do you have any of these questions you want to address her about the Civil War, any of that stuff? Or
What's that?
did you want to address her about the Civil War, relatives, or any of that kind of,
Sure.
anything that we haven't covered?
Yeah, I kinda talked about the community stuff.
Okay, community stuff.
So you talked about you went to some dances, you used to go dancing?
Yeah, that was a big thing.
Now, where were the dances held?
Well, in Augusta, they were held at the Legion Hall.
Okay,
A great place to go to dance, best dance floor around.
yeah,
And it really was.
Yeah.
And local people came, even though they didn't dance, some of the older would come
Yeah.
for a night out, just sit on a stage, and
uh,
it was a stage part of that, and they
Sure.
watch everybody dance. Never seen them get them dance, but we did a lot of dancing.
Okay.
And we'd go to Marthasville and New Haven, and
uh,
kinda went all over on Friday night or Saturday night, usually.
Whoa.
It was good times.
so that was pretty consistently, like every week they would have a dance at the
Some
Legion?
places had a dance every week. I don't say that Augusta had one every week, but they had them pretty regular.
Uh-huh,
And, the bands were, I can't think of the names now, some of them. Everybody had their favorite band,
well, sure,
you know, it was just, and
yeah,
it was not real great ballroom dancing, but it was just about any kind of dance there was out there, they would play and you'd dance, you know,
Yeah.
the schottisches and all the German dances,
uh-huh,
jitterbugging.
oh,
You
really?
remember Junior Laceman?
Oh, yeah, JR.
Oh, yeah,
Uh-huh.
sure,
My
sure.
favorite dance partner when it comes to,
No
Oh.
kidding,
he could really.
Who did you guess?
My
I
dad
had-
too, he could waltz.
I had no
really
idea. Yeah, he was running a small
Yeah.
repair shop
Yeah,
at his house, yeah.
he was a good.
Because before he died, I took a few things to him, he was a good repairman,
Yeah.
yeah.
We interviewed his sister, a few months ago, Jeanette Fisher,
Oh, did
who
you?
was a policeman. Yeah.
Here?
Yeah,
Yeah, here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Sure did.
Is she's okay then, huh?
Well, she was good, she certainly was good enough that day. She
Really? I wonder
she
about
gave us a good interview.
yeah,
Yeah.
she did,
Yeah, she would have a lot of the insight to Augusta, just the town proper.
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
And,
yeah,
well, I'm glad you got that. I didn't
Yeah.
realize that she was that alert, you know, that she could do that.
no, she was pretty sharp that day,
Yeah, I'd say so.
But I was just misinformed. I thought she was not able to communicate, but I'm glad she could. It's great.
yeah. She's time shifted a little bit.
Yeah, she drifted a little
Yeah, a
bit,
little
but heck, we all do.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So did you guys ever go to barn dances?
You know,
When they clean it out
Not
to get
too
ready for
often.
the season, and they'd have a
Yes.
barn dance?
yeah. There was one just across the bridge here. It's kind of where Scotland's is. Where Scotland is, right across the bridge. from that business.
Stratman Farm Supply.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you look at that at an angle, and you look towards the block, there was a farm down there, had a big barn, and they would clean it off, and they didn't have it very often, but,
Yeah,
and that's about the only one I remember going to. Maybe other people went, that I don't remember, but that one.
It was always fun for kids. Run around like banshees while we rode
Well,
us.
I don't remember kids being there so much, might have been there, but that was always a good dance too, cause that was really hold out, you know, you were, you really danced the old dances. It was nice.
and when they had dances at the American Legion in Augusta, how did you find out about them?
Oh, I don't know, I guess it's a good question.
Did they have a
Word.
billboard up by the
Probably
Legion
word of
Hall?
mouth. Probably word of mouth, because, you know,
Yeah.
back then that's about the way you ever found out anything, because the only telephone you had was a wall phone,
Yeah,
and, I would say, that's a good question, I don't know. They would probably advertise those in the bigger halls.
yeah, no
And then-
doubt,
The one in New Haven, that was constant, they had a dance at a certain time of a certain day of the month.
Uh-huh.
Be every third Saturday or whatever, it'd always be the same.
okay,
I know that was, you could go there and count on there being a band there to play.
Did Augusta have a local newspaper back at that time? Do you
No,
know?
not really.
No?
Elsie Malkin always wrote a script for the Augusta. Were you around when she was writing for the Missourian? She and
Oh,
Farmers.
yeah, I vaguely remember that, yes.
She always had a lot of
They would
information
have a
about Augusta,
column.
but that was more recent. That wasn't back when
Yeah.
I was coming up.
You said you had a wall phone, so when you were getting a call, did you have like 2 rings or 3 rings or?
Ours was 2 short, a long, and 2 shorts.
Uh-huh.
That was our
And you had to crank it on the side, on the
No
side?
long one.
Yeah.
And you knew everybody's ring, you know everybody's ring, you'd hear it, cause you heard it in your phone.
Yeah.
Of course, there was always, everybody was listening in.
Yeah.
So that was all like a party line? Anybody that was
Yeah.
talking on it, you could pick it up and
Yeah,
listen to
yeah.
them?
Of course, they would know that too, you know.
So if you needed a phone, you had to ask them to let you have the phone, they were talking too loud? So if you needed the phone and they were talking, you just asked them to let you have the
Yeah,
phone?
it went on.
Because you
know.
couldn't tell if they were on the phone or not by looking at it, right?
Oh, no, no, they would, no, they would,
Yeah.
yeah.
When I lived at the schoolhouse, which was down at Berg's Crossing, I shared a telephone in with Arthur Berg. We
Oh,
were
yeah,
still on the
yeah.
party line at that
Yeah.
time. Yeah.
I guess you did hear that.
Yeah, believe it or not.
Yeah.
Did you just have like a four digits for your phone number, or did you have
It was a ring.
a long, I mean, your phone number, or did the operator just know it was you?
You'd have to call the operator and they would connect you to a certain name.
So you didn't have a phone number, they just had your
No,
name and they
no,
knew
no,
where to
no.
plug it in.
I don't know how it was considered a long distance. I guess you got the operator and they went, you know, they hooked you up to where you wanted to call, who you wanted to talk to. And I know that everybody had their own ring, you know. Locally, it's probably the only calls ever made was on their own line anyway, I guess.
So we've all seen these movies where there's in early telephone systems where there's an operator
Yeah.
and then she's plugging these things in to connect these lines. Did Augusta have a little,
Yeah, they had one.
did they?
Where the post office now is, that was, for a while, that was one there.
Yeah?
And then down the street towards the river, there was one, in one of the houses, I had one down there. It was the same thing, but they moved it, they would go down, they went down there. Shirley Stelzer,
Uh-huh.
you know her,
No,
okay,
I don't think so.
she's here too, but they had one in their house for a while.
Oh, no
People
kidding.
just bring it, you know, you could get it hooked up in your house and you could be an operator. And I'm not
I have no
sure if,
idea.
That's pretty cool.
Huh?
I'm not sure if you were on, if you were there all the time or you had somebody come in and help you, otherwise you was in your house, you were always answering the phone, so they may have had people come in and help them, I don't remember that.
Yeah.
Did they shut down at night? I mean, like no
That's what
one
I'm
could.
saying, I don't.
Oh, I'm sorry, I
No,
just-
that's, again, I was trying to explain that, they must either had somebody come in and help, and why they don't have that many calls at night, it's not like now.
Yeah.
You know, you probably wouldn't get a call for a whole week on your phone anyway.
I bet they used to shut down at night.
Mm.
I don't know.
On a small system, certainly there wouldn't
Yeah,
be,
it was pretty crude too, I mean, it was really the old system, so,
yeah.
they could easily do that, I guess, turn it off, but I
Yeah.
don't remember
No.
that, because we got calls, I remember them through the day.
Yeah.
This may be getting way off topic, but you mentioned Shirley Stelzer. Now, is she related to, say, Glennon Stelzer?
Glenn's her husband, Glenn was her husband.
No, I mean Glennon. Glennon's.
Oh, Glenn's.
That's Ruth
Glenn.
Stelzer was his business.
You know, I don't know if they're related or not, I don't know much
Oh,
about
okay.
that.
Is she from that area?
But they lived along the bottom road,
Across the river?
Stelzers did,
They did? Okay.
let's see. Do you know where Nobler lives, it's Nobler boy, Dave Nobler?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Well, they lived on top of the hill there, that's where the Stelzers lived.
Oh, I'll be darned.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we'll interview her someday.
Oh, she would be good, she's,
Is she here?
yeah, she's here now, I don't know for how long, she really lives at Grandview, that, assisted living here, but she had surgery, so she's here for some kind of,
Yeah.
you know, therapy or something.
Oh, uh-huh.
But you know, she's sharp,
Yeah.
and when we sat together for a while, we go back, you know,
Yeah.
talk about old times.
Is she about
knows-
your age?
Yeah, she's probably a year or two older than I, she's probably close to 90 maybe,
Uh-huh.
80,
So she's in
90.
She normally lives in Grandview, but she's
Yeah.
here now for rehab.
Yeah, just, I don't know how long, but she's here for rehab.
Okay.
Okay, and you said her husband's name was Glenn,
Glenn,
Glen,
he's,
but he's gone,
yeah,
right?
he's gone. And their one boy lives, off of Highway F and Camille in Sluisburg Road, that
Okay,
Sluisburg Road and Highway F, it's that corner.
down that way,
Farm on
okay.
that corner belonged to the girls, that was the daughters. Daughters inherited that farm from their grandma and grandpa.
Oh.
And they just sold it now about last year. And he bought land, his son bought land off of and kept the house. They got rid of the house right away, they didn't want the hassle of renters, so they sold the house off, the girls did. And then they sold the other land now too. So it's, Toterbridge boy lives there, one of them.
Brian Torbush owns where he
Yeah, you
was-
know him, don't
Yeah,
you?
sure I do.
He
Yeah.
lives on that, would have been the girls' farm.
Okay,
back when
I was guessing that's who you were talking about, yeah.
Hmm?
I was kinda guessing that's what we were
Yeah,
talking about.
you play with them, don't you?
I jam with him once in a while, I'm not in that band,
Oh, okay.
but.
They just played at a dance in Augusta past Saturday
I
night.
didn't, but Brian did.
Brian
Oh,
did.
really?
Yeah. Yeah, they've got a band called the Texas Giants.
Yeah, they're gonna play here. Someone said they had to sign up on the board, I don't
Yeah,
remember.
well,
what
that's
day it
nice.
is.
You'll enjoy that.
That'll get you a good show. This guy's got a great thing going.
I'm glad, yeah.
Yeah. And this guy's a great guitar player, but he won't let anybody hear him, he's really good.
You know, bring your instruments and jam here, they'd probably like that.
Yeah, they would, no doubt. Huh?
Well, guys, do you have anything else?
Do you have
want-
anything else you wanna share with everybody that comes to you? Anything special events or happenings?
When you leave, I'll probably think of a lot of things. I was thinking about,
Like, were any of your brothers in the, like, World War II or Korean
oh,
War
that's a good
or
question.
anything?
one brother was in the Korean War,
Okay.
Paul. My older brother had really bad eyes, he never got into the service. And my other two brothers, one was in Germany, and that was during the Korean War time too. And the other one was just, what do they call it, ROTC or something,
Mm,
or whatever he was in.
Yeah,
He had to go away every weekend or whatever.
Officer
a
Trent.
guard,
He
yeah.
was
Oh,
in that
okay.
for a while.
National Guard.
National
Yeah,
Guard,
that's
yeah.
what he was in.
Yeah.
Okay,
He was in that for about maybe 3 years,
yeah.
or maybe 4.
Now,
That's in it.
when you were growing up, was the railroad already down?
No, the railroad was there.
Mm.
Yeah, I remember the train. That was always nice to hear the train.
Do you remember how many trains a day came through at the time?
At least 3, I know. It could have been more than that, because they said they ran at night too.
Mm,
Yeah.
No, that was great. We were a mile from the railroad tracks,
Uh-huh.
down the bottom, so.
Gotcha,
that's
yeah,
really-
okay.
Do you remember what they used to haul on the railroad at the time? Did you
Well, just
ever?
about anything. It always was nice to watch them go by, machinery or stuff like that.
Yeah.
Most machinery, I remember boxcars, there were several accidents
Mm.
with trains,
Uh-huh.
one down at Matt's, and that was, my brother said this, they were carrying chocolate, something, Hershey bars, I believe.
Oh.
And he said they all did.
We heard about
One
that
of the
chocolate train.
Stelzer told us about that.
He said he remembered going down there and picking up all Hershey
Yes.
bars that you could. I remember the accident, but I don't remember the
Yeah.
Hershey. Probably didn't get home with the Hershey bars, they probably ate them before they got home.
So the passenger, they carried passengers too,
Yeah, they
didn't
had
they? Was the passenger train a separate train from the ones that
I
carried?
think so. I know we took it home from St. Louis a couple of times. My sister worked in St. Louis.
Uh-huh.
My other sisters and I would go down there for a weekend, and then we'd come back on the train, and we'd come back at midnight. That was the bad part about it. We only stopped at Augusta at midnight.
No kidding. Huh.
Well, for us, Maddie could stop other times, but we couldn't get home until that train at midnight
Yeah.
for some reason.
Huh.
And I forgot about that. It was a pretty nice little train though, when you think of it, it's kinda neat inside, they all are neat, and trains were really neat back then.
Yeah, I bet they were. Yeah.
I remember going to Kansas on a train, I had relatives up there, and you'd have the dining room was set with real china
Mm.
and glass, you know,
Yeah,
and white napkins and white tablecloths.
huh,
It was like really, you know, pretty fancy for me, it was really fancy.
yeah, I bet it was a nice
It was
experience.
nice.
Yeah, and how old were you when you took the train to Kansas?
Oh, probably 20, 19
Okay.
or 20.
Huh.
Yeah.
Ruth, that train stop at Nona and that store there, was that ever functional when you were, after you were
It
born?
must have been, I don't remember a lot of the transactions that took place there, but there was a little store there, I remember going in there.
The grain bin too.
Yeah,
So
my brother says he remembers they drive cattle up there and load them.
Yeah.
So that Alice is 90, so, but I don't remember him doing that, but heard him talk about it.
Okay.
Where'd you catch the train at when you went into St. Louis?
Augusta.
In Augusta.
Had to go to Augusta.
So that was a haul just to get there and catch the train.
Oh,
And
really?
then you girls had to walk home at midnight when it.
No, Dad did pick us up, and then we were living in the hills, we were a lot closer than we were in the bottom, but,
Oh.
no, he did pick us up. I'm sure he probably didn't want to, but it was at midnight, I can't
Darn
imagine
girls.
him being very happy about it.
So besides the main line that the train ran on, I just talked to someone yesterday that told me there was 2 other tracks where Augusta is, where the train station was. There was 2 that they would park stuff, you know, carrying
Oh,
coal or
They had
whatever,
a siding there.
but it's 2 siding tracks,
Yeah,
yes.
too, I don't remember, I know they had sidings there, but I don't remember them.
Yeah,
I remember hearing about them.
yeah, he told me that they would park them there, sometimes leave them overnight or
Yeah,
a couple days,
that's right, then they'd pick them up again.
and then
over
pick them
there.
up again.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that there was 3 wooden bins, 2 that held grain that was a co-op
Oh, okay.
from local farmers, stored their grain in them. They were made out of wood, and a third one that they stored coal in. Do you remember that?
No, I don't remember that.
Okay,
And I imagine the grain was ear corn. It was made
probably.
out of wood, it was slatted,
I'll find out.
yeah, cause I don't think it back then they would shell corn and bring it up there, it probably was picked,
It probably
Years,
was, yeah.
stored there,
So he told me there was a coal merchant
yeah.
that sold, you know, they brought
Cool.
train loads of them,
Oh,
or
yeah.
carload of coal, stored them there in a wooden,
Well, you know,
tower.
back then, a lot of people
Mhm.
used coal, not a lot of people, but I guess you had to have access to getting coal, so that's how they brought it, I guess, dumped it
Yeah.
off there and then
yeah.
you couldn't get it.
He told me the name of the merchant, but, you
Yeah,
know,
oh,
I need to write things down when I talk to
Yeah,
people.
that's kinda interesting. That could have been anybody, you know, there's some old
Yeah.
names in town.
Yeah,
Ruth, what about the bridge across the river? That one must have been built a few years after you were born, maybe?
Yeah, I think I was about 4
Uh-huh.
when, I don't know if they were started or it was done. I don't remember it being built, I remember the ferry.
Ah.
I don't remember ever going on it, but I remember going to where they landed and would, you know, go across the river. And I don't know if that was something we just did on a Sunday and they drive around and we just watched the ferry cross, I'm not sure. But Alice said I must have went over on it at some time, but I can't remember that I did.
yeah,
And they took hay over with a horse and team to some of our relatives over here he needed a lot of help and they helped him out with hay and stuff, but I don't remember that either.
Okay. But you mentioned you would go to dances in New Haven, so you crossed the river there. Were you driving Model A's or T's or whatever?
Well, we drove then, I was older, we had cars then,
Mm-hmm.
we never went that far with it was still a long way to go.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, that's still a
do you remember what kind of car you had?
Yeah, well, I don't remember that.
Okay,
We never had old dilapidated cars, but we had time, whatever the year time it was, you had about that model, cause
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
yeah,
maybe be 5 or 10 years old before you turned it in.
sure,
Yeah, they didn't last forever back then.
No, and of course they didn't drive them very much either, you know,
no,
that's that we did.
That's all I got.
Good.
Well,
Mhm.
I guess
Very informative, unless you have something else that
if you wanna offer us
gets
anything
in,
else.
yeah,
I think
love to
about
hear
it.
about it.
I think about, I'll talk to Shirley and she can tell.
Ah. There you go. Do you think the Maynard will wanna do one of these, or
I don't think
that's not his style? Yeah,
He's not a very happy camper.
oh, okay.
He had a very bad day yesterday. He wants to go home. He wants to walk and he can't walk.
Oh, yeah.
It's everybody's fault but his that he can't walk.
Okay, I thought I noticed he was different today.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
felt
he does.
like he was in a bad mood.
Yeah.
Cried all last night.
Oh, no.
And it was so hard to listen to that.
Thank God you're here with him, you know, to give him
Tell
some
him that.
comfort.
Tell him.
You've been taking long walks down the hall, have you?
Not him, I have, just to get away.
Yeah.
No, it's just hard on him,
Oh,
because he's used to being on
That's
the farm.
understandable.
Yeah.
I'm used to being independent.